So, Rob, you worked in the music industry for 35 years. You were Tina Turner's road manager for what?
5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years.
Yep.
There's photos of you on the wall with Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, with MC Hammer, with Mel Gibson. My question for you is, how many stories do you have that you can't tell me?
Oh, many more than I could tell you. Many more than I could tell you.
Ooh, it's good around here, isn't it? Quiet on set.
Sorry guys, we're going to take the audio now.
Do you have sort of highlights that stick out for you? Obviously being on the road with Tina Turner must have been pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
absolutely. And I think Live Aid in Philadelphia would probably have been one of the momentous occasions.
So what happened there? How did that all come about?
Well, that was all, Bob Geldof, the Singing Irishman, to sort of organise it all. And we went into a studio in Los Angeles with 25 or 30 of the other top artists, Bruce Springsteen and Cyndi Lauper and everybody like that. Michael Jackson put in an appearance. And,
Right.
we did the We Are the World song, so that was an awesome experience, just the recording. And then a few months later we gathered together in Philadelphia for the Live Aid performance, which was awesome.
What are Mick and Keith like?
Mick and Keith are also very funny and very close friends, old friends of Tina's.
Right. Okay.
So whenever they were around, it was very very joyful.
Yeah.
We and Mick hitchhiked a ride from Greensboro, North Carolina to Atlanta on our jet, and we ran into some bad weather, and I put Mick and Tina on the blower to Atlanta Tower, and it was amazing kind of Georgian accent talking us down, and Mr. Jagger and Miss Turner.
So did they believe that they were actually talking
Oh
to
yeah,
Mick Jagger and Tina Turner?
they had a registration for our plane, so
Right,
they knew the
okay.
plane was Tina's. So they talked us right down through the storm to save us a couple of hours in the limo. So it was very much appreciated.
I mean, you must have seen every inch of the States, wouldn't you?
Pretty much,
Yeah,
pretty
because
much.
you were in a bus with Tina Turner for years, just driving around.
Yep, bus and planes, and there was very little of America that we didn't get to.
Yeah.
Often it was late afternoon, concert in the evening on the bus again, so I could say, I've been to Bowling Green in Kentucky or something. Really? No, I haven't. And when I started with Tina, Roger was trying to get her away from cabaret and build her as an artist that could command, major auditoriums and all that sort of stuff. And to do that, he had to have a hit record. So that's where, her first significant album, Private Dancer, came about. And the work that went in, particularly Roger, to creating that. But it had to start somewhere, and the only source of revenue we had in the very early days was a McDonald's convention contract.
Right.
Which meant we were running around playing small halls to 300 McDonald's franchisees, employees of the year, off a little band riser about that high with 6 band and one sound engineer and one guitar roadie. And from that we went up to, then we were, in the same time as doing that, we were going to supporting Lionel Richie in huge auditoriums and everything, but still with our tiny little crew and everything like that. Lionel was very good to us. We escalated very rapidly from 6 band and 2 road crew to, as I say, 105 and 110 people on the road.
Yeah, right. What's it like for an artist going from, playing those conventions with 300 people to playing stadiums?
With Tina, it never made any difference. She always gave the absolute best that she was capable of giving, whether it was playing at a private function for 5 people, which she never did. But it was ingrained in her personality, I guess, to put on a show. If someone's paid money, and she would often chastise the bands. Bands have ups and downs, especially if you're on the road for a long time. And they have different energy levels. Some of that can do with what they were doing the night before, but other times it's just simply road tripping.
You can't maintain that level the whole time.
But Tina could.
Right.
And if she didn't feel the band in a backside, if you like, right behind her, then she'd come off stage and she'd be spitting chips. And I used to take her off the stage, and I could tell by how she grabbed my arm whether the band were in trouble or not. If her arm was quite relaxed and everything, but if she was coming onto my arm like that, I'd go, oh God, boys, you're in for a bucketing.
Right.
And sure enough, before we got to her dressing room, she'd
Yeah.
say, band in my dressing room.
Yeah.
And I'd go, okay. And all the guys in the band room, they'd be in the band, and I'd come in and they'd be looking at me like, you know, half reaching for a glass of wine or a beer or whatever, and just looking at me to see what the story was going to be. And they knew.
Yeah.
Very rarely did I go in and the boys said, gee, we played well tonight.
Yeah.
They knew. The last time I actually physically saw her was the last time she was in Australia. So if she was ever back in Australia,
Yeah.
I would see her.
I mean, there must be such a tight bond that you form with someone when you're on the road together for that long.
Well, you do, but my period with Tina, if you take the whole scope of her life,
Yeah.
was pretty
Sure.
small
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, we were very close.
Yeah.
She wrote me something, and when her first book came out, that Kurt Loder from Rolling Stone did, she wrote in the front of the book for me that if I'd been around, none of this would have happened, because a lot of it was all the crap with Ike and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
She said, no, it wouldn't have happened
That's
if
a
you'd have
nice,
been around.
that's a nice
Which was
dedication,
lovely.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. Oh, thanks so much for that, Rob. Really.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's been amazing.